Welcome. It's Indisputable. I'm your host, Richey. Good to be with you. We got a lot on the agenda today. Breaking down news of the day, my contributor, none other than Jeff Wiggins, Rebel HQ contributor and content creator. Always great having him on the program. First story of the day. You know the cop that we covered who decided to start calling black people the N-word while on duty? Well, this actually happened back in January. She has now finally been fired. Let's put up a picture full mass here. Now, she decided to say how much she hated N-words. And she went on this extremely racist rant while wearing her uniform and on active duty. Her name is Rose Valentino. She's an Ohio police officer. She has now been fired, all right? Let me give you some background. The Cincinnati City Manager's Office reportedly made the announcement on Monday, according to the Inquirer, approving the recommendation from the Cincinnati Police Department to fire Officer Rose Valentino. Let's look at the interim police chief. Right now, they do not have a full-time police chief or a fully approved police chief. This is Teresa Thige, who's currently serving as chief of police. The recommendation to fire Officer Valentino went from the police division directly to the city manager's office. Now, I'm going to read a direct quote that the chief said. I want to be clear. This type of hateful speech will not be tolerated by anyone who works for the Cincinnati Police Department, sworn or civilian. Interim Police Chief Teresa Thige said in a statement, according to the Inquirer, Valentino, the cop, was heard cursing and insulting drivers in vehicles who were in line to pick up students from Western Hills University High School. This was on April 5th. Valentino, who according to local ABC affiliate WCPO has been with the police department for 14 years, activated her siren in lights in an effort to get the drivers to move. When they did not move, she got angry and rolled down her window to tell them to move. Let's put up a picture again. I'm going to highlight some irony here. So that cop said when a black male student was walking by, she said, I effing hate them. Oh, I effing hate them. And she said the N-word so much, effing N-words. And she continued to say, I effing hate N-words over and over again. And even when she stopped her racial or racist rant, she then started saying racist things under her breath. Another racial slur came out of her mouth. Now, here's the irony. You know why she was being recorded? Because she activated her siren. And so once she activated her siren, there's a recording. Because you're supposed to activate your siren when you are trying to pull someone over, or you have now engaged in contact with someone in the community, or you are attempting to, maybe an arrest, an investigation, whatever it may be. So literally, this cop set herself up. Isn't that something? Do you think this was the first time that she ever said the N-word? Of course not. Do you think this was the first time that she engaged in behavior, let's say, unbecoming of an officer? Of course not. Now here's the other side of it. When pressed about saying the N-word, one, she made an excuse. She did not say, I'm so sorry, it was wrong. She made an excuse. Now remember, they did not fire her. They did not stop paying her. They allowed her to remain on the force. Yes, they took her off of active police duties pending an investigation, but it was recorded. She admitted that she did it and still did not get fired immediately. That is a problem. In addition to that, her excuse was, well, the reason why I said the N-word is because of rap music and I hear other people saying it. So let me translate. What this particular Karen, officer, decided to do was to blame urban culture music, and her black friends. Yeah, that's it. But when you hear the recording, she actually goes hard ER. I mean, she is obviously accustomed to saying the N-word. She absolutely had no problem getting into this racial or racist rant, but she was walking among the citizens of that community. And it was only because of the outcry of community leaders, the citizens and advocacy groups that she actually was fired. I need to take us back to the moment when it happened. The moment that it happened, this was a nothing burger to the local police department until it became a national story. All right, Jeff, thoughts here?
I find it amazing that the N-word can come out of someone's mouth because they simply hear it on the song. And not the way it's said in the song, but the way they wanted to say it. All of this was pinned up inside of her. She had this brewing for a long time. I can only imagine what she would have said if this was something beyond the parking line at a school or somebody going by and saying something to her. I remember when Paula Deen got in trouble for saying the N-word, and they asked her in the investigation, have you ever said the N-word before? And she said, yeah, when she was being stuck up in a robbery at a bank. It doesn't come out at an utterance like that. That's not how this thing works. So she should just take responsibility. My father-in-law calls his wife, my mother-in-law, sweetie pie. I don't suddenly start calling her that because they use the term all the time around me. That's not how this works. I'm glad she's being held accountable.
That's actually a very good point. Herschel Walker, yeah, lying ass Herschel Walker. This man is still claiming that he's the police. I kid you not. Let's put up the recent tweet from dear Herschel here, US Senate candidate actually leading in the polls against Senator Raphael Warnock. So Herschel Walker tweeted this: while Reverend Warnock was calling law enforcement thugs and bullies, which is a lie, he never did that, I was proud to serve the blue as an honorary agent and special deputy sheriff of Cobb County for many years. And then he presents this ID card that was obviously made at Kinko's. Now, let me read this card. It says Cobb County Sheriff's Office, Marietta, Georgia. Documents have been filed in the office of the sheriff of Cobb County certifying that Herschel Walker, special deputy sheriff. Oh, wait a minute, Herschel special? Okay, it goes on to say whose signature and picture appear herein as is an honorary agent for the Cobb County Sheriff's Office is as designated above. So I called the Cobb County Sheriff's Office and one person said, and I quote, well, they are for play badges. Literally. This is a made up program to make individuals feel good about themselves who happen to contribute money to the sitting sheriff at that time. That's basically what the program was designed for. Friends of the sheriff, which equates to donors to the sheriff, they're able to get this particular card. This was many years ago, by the way. This was a routine dynamic associated with the sheriff's department. Nothing special about it. He was not a sworn officer. He was not a police officer. He was not post certified. He did not have some special privileges with the sheriff's office based on what the sheriff's office says. This was all just to make him feel good. They had this feel good program. Herschel Walker went on, this badge went on to tell the world he was in fact the police. As a matter of fact, there's a police report right now that you can read online right now where Herschel Walker told the police that he was in fact the police too. It's in the police report. Did he get arrested for impersonating an officer? Of course not. He's Herschel Walker, legendary football star, legendary college football star as well. So no, he did not get arrested, even though he did in fact impersonate a police officer. But he's doubling down now. He's doubling down, even though it has been completely refuted by the Cobb County Sheriff's Office and the Cobb County Police Department. No, the man was never a cop. He needs to stop saying it. Doubles down. There's more. He then said something that got me scratching my head, and it will have you scratching yours. Here it is.
I've always been very transparent. I've been very transparent, and I will be a champion for mental health because I've helped so many people that had a mental health problem. And I think a lot of families have a lot of struggles with mental health, and I will be a champion for that. And they can continue to bring all this, what they want to do against me, because if people know what I stand for. Herschel Walker is still standing. My bike is not bent, so anyone can ride my bike. Like he's seen to have Chuck Schumer and Joe Biden riding this bike because he seemed to be voting for whatever they say. One thing about me, I represent the people of Georgia. That's the reason I got into this race. It had nothing to do with trying to be a politician, because I'm not.
Bike? Okay, sir. Let's put up his picture full mass here. He went on local news and called Senator Raphael Warnock a scaredy cat for not debating him, even though he's the only one fleeing from debates. This is a fascinating scenario we have right here in the state of Georgia, and by connection, the United States of America. Who do you think is leading in the polls right now to become senator? Do you think Senator Warnock is leading in the polls? Well, if you said, yeah, of course, Senator Warnock is leading in the polls, you would be mistaken. In the most recent poll, Emerson College poll shows Walker in the lead with 46% compared to Warnock's 44% support among very likely general election voters. This is a Georgia-based poll. These are individuals who responded to the question of which candidate they will pick for the 2022 midterm election if it was held today. Now, let me remind everyone, polls are not predictions. They are snapshots of the current psychology of likely voters. They can change, and damn it should. But keep in mind, this individual, Herschel Walker, is known to be a liar, known to not have capacity to govern based on statements from his own campaign. He is known to absolutely lie about things when the truth will do, just like his mentor, Donald Trump. I don't besmirch Herschel because he's conservative or Republican or lacks intellectual capacity. I am against Herschel because he's dangerous. The man is dangerous. He is willing to carry the water of white supremacists and be their blackface, be their token champion, and that is a dangerous reality for this country. All right, Mr. Wiggins, thoughts here?
I'm trying to make this short and sweet. That badge or the little card he's carrying, is it not the equivalent of when I take my kids to meet law enforcement and the fire department and they hand them the little stickers or stars or sheriff badges that they can pin on themselves and say, have a nice day. I hope you see us another day moving forward. That's not, this is the same thing.
Not really. I actually think your kid would be more closer to a cop than Herschel is with this.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
No police reports for my kids, so there's that.
There it is. All right. I got an update. I told you this was a straight out murder when it first happened. A cop who shot a man in a wheelchair 9 times in the back while serving as a security guard for Walmart has finally been charged. I'm gonna remind you the video is graphic, here it is.
Bravo 18.
Bravo 18.
You sent me an 84. I have a male suspect that just shoplifted, knife in front of me, pulled a knife on me. He's currently westbound in the parking lot. Bravo 15 to 1U5. He's confronted by loss prevention. He pulled the knife on loss prevention while I was right there. He got his knife in his other hand.
Okay.
You're not going to the store, sir.
Stop now. You need to stop.
Bravo 18, shots fired.
I'm gonna get my back.
Bravo 15, we have one gunshot victim. Officers are code 4.
Bravo 156, code 4 for meds to move in at this point.
Bravo 15, I'll need units here. Code 3, we got a lot of people here.
10-4, stand by just one. Is it okay for meds to move in? Is the scene secure?
Yeah, scene's code 4, meds can move in.
So damn sad. This man should be alive today. His name is Richard Lee Richards. He's dead. Let's put up the picture of the coward cop who killed him. Okay? That is ex-officer now, Ryan Remington, who was served with a summons because he has now been indicted for manslaughter, should have been indicted for murder. Now, let me highlight some interesting dynamics here that should make your blood boil. Number one, he was not an officer or in capacity of an officer at the time. He was serving as a security guard for Walmart. Walmart has a zero tolerance shoplifting policy. Walmart will prosecute their own mama. The individual was accused of shoplifting maybe a tool set of sorts. There were other cops who were actually on duty who responded to the 911 call. When these other cops responded, not one of them felt as if it was necessary to shoot and kill Mr. Richards. Only the one serving as a security guard for Walmart thought it was necessary to use deadly force against a man in a wheelchair. Now, where's Walmart's statement here? What is Walmart corporate saying about this? I understand we're gonna deal with the police department, we're gonna deal with the cop, we're gonna deal with the fallout. But I wanna deal with Walmart too, because you cannot disconnect the reality of the cause and effect relationship between Walmart having this ridiculous zero tolerance, chase everyone policy and what happened to this man inside of the wheelchair, shot in the back 9 times. Why did the cops not immediately arrest that security guard who did so? Because I guarantee you, if that security guard was not police certified, the security guard would have been arrested that night. There's more. Let's put up the victim, 61-year-old victim, Richard Lee Richards. He was killed on November 29th by that cop. If the cop is convicted, he could face between 3 to 12 and a half years in prison. That's not enough time for what he did. What he did was straight out murder. John Bradley, a lawyer for the Richards family, will be filing a separate civil lawsuit. That's going to come in the next few weeks. Details of the shooting, here's your background. The fatal November 29th shooting unfolded while Remington, an off-duty cop, was working as a security guard at Walmart. He had been informed by a loss prevention employee that a man in a motorized wheelchair was suspected of stealing a toolbox, and the pair followed Richards out to the parking lot. Remington posed a question to Mr. Richards. Can you show a receipt for the toolbox? The police said. Instead, Richards brandished a knife and said, here's your receipt. He then moved toward a nearby Lowe's, ignoring the warnings not to enter the store. If you want me to put down the knife, you're going to have to shoot me, he reportedly told Remington. As Richards began to enter the shop, Remington warned, do not go into the store, sir, according to the body camera footage from a second officer who arrived on the scene. Remington, the cop, then opened fire on the suspect, who was hit 9 times, the footage showed. Security camera video showed Richard slumped over and falling out of his wheelchair into the ground. And then what do you think the officer did? He decided to handcuff the dead Mr. Richards. Okay, all right. There's some people who are going to push back and say, well, Doc, he did tell Mr. Richards to put down the knife. You gotta understand this. One, just because a person may need to see a judge does not mean they need to see their maker. Police officers cannot become judge, jury, and executioner for shoplifting, of all things. And what shoplifting crime should warrant a death? Now remember, this was a misdemeanor offense. He's in a wheelchair. None of the other cops thought he was a threat. None of the other cops decided to fire their weapon, except for one guy, the security guard. And what happened after he did so? Every other cop backed the play. They backed him. These cops who backed it should also be off the force as well. How in the hell do you get to this place in your career as a police officer where you clearly see a murder in front of you, a man in a wheelchair shot in the back. I don't give a damn if he has a knife. I don't give a damn what he has said with his words. He did not deserve to die outside of a Lowe's. All right, Mr. Wiggins, thoughts here?
I'm struggling with my ability to figure out ways in which this could have. Look, I don't know why they didn't restrain this man. I don't know why he wasn't tased. I don't know why he wasn't maced. But this is just further proof that a police department, I mean, a precinct is so pervasive that even in the face of a true crime, the other officers couldn't do anything to stop him. This is ugly.
Yep.
This is bad. That man should be alive. He died possibly due to a tool set that was what, $90?
If that much. And here's the thing. If a man is stealing a tool set, look at this from the humanity lens. If a man is stealing a tool set, he's stealing a tool set because he doesn't have the money to afford it. He's stealing a tool set because he wants to work. He wants to fix something. He wants to earn money. And maybe he was having a bad day. Maybe that was a bad night for him. And maybe he was at the end of the rope. And he said, I gotta go to Walmart. I don't have the tools. I gotta steal it. This should not be how we respond to people in our society. It lacks humanity, it lacks decency. And this cop has only been charged with manslaughter. He should have been charged with cold-blooded murder. We got more on the other side. It's indisputable. Stick and stay. Welcome back. We got a lot of show left. Always good to be with you. A lot of content to cover. Let me read some of these amazing comments. Before I do, don't forget about the watch list with the big homie, Gerald Jackson. The watch list, add to your watch list. Live weekdays, 12 p.m. Eastern time, 9 a.m. Pacific time. Watch live daily and subscribe at youtube.com/watchlist TYT. Let's make that happen. Okay. Travel Nurse Dragon, a rose by another name is just as racist. Go. Hippocrates Noah, a champion for mental health, question mark, more like a poster for mental health. All right. V says about the cop, police officers, too terrified to enter and stop school shootings, but they definitely can outgun the terrified man in the wheelchair. Terrifying man in the wheelchair, yeah. Big and bad now. In a wheelchair, you got a knife, got your back turned, shoot you in the back. Tiger Katsuni, I think, or Sune. Hey, Dr. Richey, a customer called me the N-word at my job today. Some people here already know, but an update. My company is absolutely pursuing action against them. I'm under NDA though, calls center work. All right, good. Well, I'm glad your company is moving in the right direction. Sorry that happened to you. Continue to be the vigilant person that I know you are. All right, thank you for sharing that. Barbara Joyce, thank you, Barbara. You can always play cops and robbers, right, Herschel? Question mark. All right, C333949, thank you for that. Walker, Officer Doofy. Yeah. All right, let me read one from Twitch. Fat guy named Tiny says, well, he finally said something true. I'm not trying to be a politician because I'm not. That's right, that was a true statement, isn't it? All right, ladies and gentlemen, I wish a Karen would.
You want to call the police on them for having a barbecue on a Sunday?
You're still free! Back off!
I'm going to tell them there's an African-American man threatening my life.
I always came here. I don't get it.
Back off.
You.
Give me credit cards back.
Oh. Let me show them the food you're serving.
Dallas, get your credit card.
Don't stand up. What?
Sit down.
No.
Sit
down, baby boy.
I don't have to. What are you going to do?
Baby boy.
I'm telling you to sit down.
Baby boy.
I'm in a restaurant.
That's right.
So what you going to do?
Baby boy, sit down.
I need to sit down.
Come on, baby boy. Baby boy, come on. Baby boy, this is not what you want, baby boy. Come on, sit down, baby boy. That's a grown ass man. Why are you calling that grown man baby boy? Baby boy? There's more.
Hey, baby boy, sit down.
You need to sit down.
They said the meal's on them.
What's that? What's that?
Meal's on them.
Okay, you need to leave.
I'm gonna leave.
Then
Hey,
you can
look
go.
at me.
I'm going to do something here. Let's put up the, let's put it up full mass. All right. Okay. I'm getting sick and tired of these thugs sagging their pants, going into restaurants, committing crimes, and being aggressively hostile to hard-working individuals. There's more. Here it is.
Don't stare him in the eyes like that. Look
Please don't touch our staff, ma'am. Please don't touch our staff. Don't touch me. Don't touch me.
Put your phone down.
Okay, that's
Quit with that.
okay. Come on.
Stop. We're leaving.
We're leaving. We're leaving.
Sir, I would like to tip you. Hey, Mr. Man. Okay, good. Hey, did anybody video that I tried to tip
Did you
away?
video this food, Joe, sir?
You were a very nice waiter.
I appreciate that.
And I would love to tip you.
That's fine.
I'm sorry that
not
things
necessary.
didn't work out right.
I'm sorry.
Would y'all eat some of this?
There you go.
Would you eat some of that?
I just think it's
I would.
Where's
I'm sorry.
damn?
I understand.
How the do we get out?
No, baby, don't talk.
I don't even know how to get together.
Savages, thugs. I actually have more video. And if you will notice, the food was comped. They didn't have to pay for it. And they still stole it. Here it is.
Hey, listen,
Don't take it.
now my dog would love it. My dog's gonna love this too.
I tell you what, I dare you. Why are you
Me like that, please.
what's wrong? Your food sucks.
I need the railing. Sorry, would you get out of my way?
I'm so sorry. We're so sorry.
Oh my God!
Did he touch you?
Yes, he did.
I tell you what, don't do it again, bro.
Put his hands on me.
Please be here in just a second.
Are you kidding me?
Please be here in just a second.
Are you kidding me? You just
Hey, get out.
tell me to
Wait
get
till
out.
we wait till the police for you.
Put your hands on me. You just put your hands on me.
Whoa, that was a roller coaster. Let me try to explain here. Okay, so obviously this couple, Karen couple, they were food offended. Because they were food offended, they decided to allow the wrath of their verbal insults to reign supreme in that establishment. It's very sad, very unfortunate. We have all had meals that were less than what we desired. We have all ordered something that was contrary to what we hoped it would be. But to respond in that manner, well, that's just going too far. Now, during this engagement, the male Karen did use multiple homophobic slurs against the staff there. I want to say this about the men and women who serve them. Big ups to you for staying professional, keeping your cool. Obviously, you should not have to face that kind of rhetoric, but you did. I understand what it's like. I used to work in a restaurant, worked in many, waited tables, I washed dishes. I worked on the stove, I cooked, did it all. Dealing with many personalities, various egos. I'm talking about not only inside of your company, but outside of your company is a tough job. So I stand with you and say thank you for handling this in such a professional manner. Naturally, when the Karen said that you touched her, it was her being hyperbolic and trying to claim something criminal happened. The only criminals I saw were those two individuals who were leaving the restaurant. All right, Mr. Wiggins, thoughts here.
What a roller coaster indeed. You blew my mind because I thought the woman Karen was calling that man Karen baby boy because it was her child. Are you telling me that this woman who is sagging her pants, because of all the rap music, might be his spouse?
Yeah, man.
I don't know which one is better or worse. Like calling him baby boy because that's your 55-year-old man child or your 55-year-old spouse boy. Either way, yeah, it was a roller coaster because I'm like, oh, she's a full-fledged Karen. But honestly, I backed it down a little bit when she was trying to tip them because Karens wouldn't do anything like that. So
I don't know. Let me rebut that a little bit here.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
We've seen this move before where a Karen can realize she's in the middle of her Karenicity and being recorded. And when that happens, when they have that brief moment of clarity, they will then try to say things like, oh, I am so sorry. I just had a bad day. Or let me pay you some money so this can go away. So this is not an abnormal move. We've seen this before by other Karens. But it can trick you, dear brother. You gotta be careful here.
It did trick me, but I'm signing up for your Karen course right now, Karen 101, because I need some more education on the matter.
Yeah, we got some courses coming up next semester, okay? So make sure you sign up for that class.
You want to call the police on them for having a barbecue on a Sunday.
I feel free! Back off!
I'm going to tell them there's an African-American man threatening my life.
I just called the police. And
can you stop harassing us, please?
I'm not harassing you.
Like,
you want to see what the side of my car looks like? Because you park your car here and you're not supposed to?
Dude, she just came from work. She's unloading and she's leaving.
No, that car was here this morning when I left.
It was not. She had to work
no parking. You know how bad the parking is here.
That's why we're supposed to park in the street.
There is no parking.
Well, then you walk down a ways and park, and don't be so lazy.
There because they closed.
You know what? You know what?
Not laziness.
I should have somebody just ring your car, just scrape the whole side of it.
You know, I feel like you're harassing us right now.
Don't
the way
be
you're
surprised.
knocking on my door, I don't really appreciate that.
I don't give a what you appreciate.
Because,
no, I don't. The homeowners has sent you notices over and over again.
You have something personal against us because the whole neighborhood parks their car, and I have pictures of
that is not true.
Of your car in front of your house. Do you want me to show it to
for
you?
10 minutes, 15 minutes.
It was there overnight.
Well, you know what? It's going to be here overnight.
I don't care.
It's going to be here, and I've called the police. They're coming out.
I never come to you and harass you, but it's always you that have problem.
No,
you have something.
Everybody else in this neighborhood.
Okay, everybody else parks.
No, they don't. Nobody else parks.
Yeah, she parks her car in front of her house
for about 15 minutes.
No, she does that at nighttime.
Well, you better move it.
And you did it overnight.
We'll wait till the cops come here and then I'll move it.
Move it.
You know what? Don't come knock the door anymore.
These HOA thugs are out of control. This is OG Karen. OG Karen knocked on the door and said, I have called the police, and then threatened to do criminal activity against her own neighbors and cited the HOA in the process of doing this. There's more video. Here it is.
Go to your own house, please.
Yeah, and can you move your car?
How about you stop talking and go over there and mind your business, please?
Move the car.
It's not in your way right now.
She can't move
it. It is my business.
She can't move the car and you're just standing behind her.
You want me to get the other neighbors to come out here?
No, I would appreciate it if you just go to your house and have her move her car peacefully and don't come bugging me anymore.
Well, then I'll bug you as much as I freaking want. And you, I'm an attorney. I'm suing you.
Okay, go for it. Do whatever you want.
And your car.
I think it's time for us to start considering prosecuting members of the HOA under the RICO Act. This is organized crime. These individuals are relentless. Not only did she knock on the door, she said, here's what I'm going to do to your car. It was a criminal matter at that point. Jackson, interesting stuff here, but not abnormal. We've seen this from other HOA Karens before. They see something they don't like, they end up either A, getting the police involved, or B, trying to affect a criminal aspect against the individual they don't like. Thoughts here?
Well, and not only that, but you better let them do it too, and you better let them talk to you and treat you however they feel like, because if you stand up for yourself, you're going to be even in more trouble. You know, it's always, she said, I'll do whatever I want. Like, okay, well, if I do whatever I want, then there shouldn't be too much of an issue. Then there should be. But they look like they were in a pretty decent neighborhood. They weren't like really struggling. So she's probably just bored, living off of investments in retirement or whatever it is. And she's just, she just needs something to do. That's all it is.
All right. You know what they say, Jackson. Find your toy. You want something to play with.
Yep. There you go.
We got more on the other side. It's indisputable. Stick and stay. Welcome back. We got a lot of show. Don't forget Unbossed with Nina Turner. That's coming October 17th. We're looking forward to this. It's a big deal. So make sure you tune in October 17th. All right. And right now, you can go to youtube.com/unbossed TYT. Subscribe. Okay, we're gonna make sure we have a big premiere for our dear sister Nina Turner. Let me read some of these comments. All right, Seth Michael Dragonski. I agree. It looks more like neurodiversity than Karenicity. I submit that's absolutely likely. Mo Fury says Reservoir Hogs. Interesting. Lynn, Dr. Richey, good choice of the word rebut. We're talking about the low-rise jeans Karen. I wasn't even thinking about, but you're right, it was a pun, unintentional actually. Bev C, thank you for Bev C. Dr. Rashad, you're the best. I watch your show faithfully. Well, thank you so much. We appreciate that, and you are the best as well. And let's go to Twitch. Omega Shinron Dragon. He might as well be a baby boy. Can't argue with that. I mean, he was acting like a child. Okay. All right. Never thought I'd see this. Never thought this would happen. MAGA Karen has had a moment of clarity. Here it is.
I have never seen a human being worshipped the way that conservatives are worshiping Donald Trump, to the point where it is creating cognitive dissonance from the reality of the things that have taken place in the last 2 years in this country. And if you dare speak out about it, you get viciously attacked, which leads me to believe that a lot of people on the right are no better than the people that they claim to hate on the left. And it's no wonder why God allowed him to be removed out of office, because our God is a jealous God and he does not play games with idolatry. And that's exactly what's going on in this movement. And let this be a warning to everybody that the people who blindly follow man are going to be the same people that are deceived by the Antichrist when he pops up on the scene. So I would tread very, very lightly with being a respecter of persons. And if you're gonna have blind loyalty to somebody that causes you to be disrespectful to another human being, then reserve that for your family members and friends who you actually know, and not politicians who don't care about you one bit.
Fascinating. This was MAGA Karen. Ladies and gentlemen, we have been searching for this Karen many years. It was once believed, legend has it, that there's no cure for Karenicity. Ladies and gentlemen, we have found patient zero. Damn it, somebody get the president on the line. Need to make sure we take a blood, we duplicate it, and we can possibly create a universal cure for Karenicity across this land. Still has religious overtones. I'm fine with that. The reality is, this particular Karen, according to this narrative, has woken up to the reality of who Trump actually is, a charlatan. And those who follow him are not part of a political movement, they are part of a cult. All right, Mr. Wiggins, thoughts here.
Dr. Richey, you're great enough to use your platform to expose these Karens in order to reform them, even sometimes giving us a daily double. And you're also humble enough to not take credit for it, so I will give you the credit. What do we do now, Dr. Richey? Do we take her blood and use it to inoculate others? I'm not sure of what to do, but I am dumbfounded right now that we have found patient zero here in these United States of America. Good job.
Yeah, we have. I assumed it was going to come from Canada, but it's right here in the good old United States of America. All right. Yep. Very, very extreme and disturbing. See this woman? All right, let's put her at full mass here. This is a former Colorado child protection caseworker who has now been charged. Why? Because according to multiple individuals, she would make advances, sexual advances. And when those sexual advances were rejected, she would then engage in a process to get the child removed from the household of the parent she tried to sleep with. That is diabolical. Her name is Robin Nasita. Ms. Nasita is listed as a defendant in a lawsuit alleging she tried to punish moms who rejected her advances by having their children taken away from them. I cannot think of anything more egregious that a child worker can do. Well, actually, only one thing more egregious than that. Nasita now faces felony charges for retaliation against an elected official. I'm gonna get into that in a moment, as well as a misdemeanor charge of making a false report of child abuse as a mandatory reporter. The alleged offenses happened when that woman worked in the County Department of Human Services. According to a criminal complaint, Nasita called the DHS anonymously to report that a local city councilwoman, Danielle Jurinsky, sexually abused her own son in the presence of staff. Okay, that never happened. That was completely untrue. Completely untrue. The complaint, however, alleges that Nasita used a personal phone to make the call of this untrue thing, and that the authorities investigated the case, found the allegations to be completely untrue, non-factual. There's more. Authorities believe that Nasita made the call after the councilwoman, Jurinsky, appeared on a local radio show and called for the firing of the Aurora police chief, who was Nasita's girlfriend at the time. Now you gotta follow this. Nasita's girlfriend was the police chief that the councilwoman said this person needs to be fired for misconduct, okay? Now, things have gotten worse for this once trusted individual in the community. After Jurinsky filed a civil lawsuit against Nasita and the County Department of Human Services because of this ridiculous allegation, several other women came forward. Nobody saw this coming. These other women, what did they allege? They're saying that Ms. Nasita, when a county child protective caseworker would lure them in, make sexual advances towards them, and when the advances were rejected, Nasita would try to take their children away, utilizing her official position as a child protective worker. The attorney for the councilwoman, Jurinsky, has filed documents asking for a class action lawsuit for, and I quote, well over 40 persons whose families were affected by Nasita's alleged actions. Here's what this means. Now, to file a class action lawsuit, you have to get a judge to certify the class action lawsuit. So you actually appeal to the court to certify that this is a category for class action. Before you can do that, you have to make a good faith basis, a claim that you have identified enough of the elements to make this a class action. For example, you have to identify how many individuals have already been adversely affected, which means more than likely this law firm representing the councilwoman, they have already engaged in over 40 different conversations with families connected to the adverse reality of this once trusted public servant. So damn sad. All right, Jeff, thoughts on this case?
What a disgusting abuse of power. This was a trusted individual in this community, and they're using their title in order for their own personal gain. Like, this is gross, and we both know, everyone watching knows, there are far more than 40 individuals that are involved in this civil action lawsuit. So I hope justice prevails and something like this can be put down really quick.
Yeah, and here's the thing. There are others who may not be aware of the potential class action lawsuit. So that's part of the reason why I'm highlighting this, so that everyone who has been adversely affected by this individual can actually have their day in court, possibly. Also, the rules, the checks, the balances need to be strengthened in that local community to make sure that others who have this level of public trust do not engage in such a violation. We got more on the other side. It's indisputable. Stick and stay. What's happening? Welcome back. Always good to be with you. Let me give everyone an update. Remember last week on Friday, we transformed the bullpen into an opportunity to hear from an anti-Karen who had to physically remove a Karen who had become physical after being verbally abusive, became physical inside of a Burger King. Well, that particular employee, who was a manager, was fired after that incident. We brought her on the show. She's a single mother, remarkable young lady. She told her story, and she had a GoFundMe. She had a GoFundMe set up. You know what you all did? You all have given this woman going on $40,000. That's what you did for her. When she came on the show, she had $15 in her GoFundMe account. It had already been active for about 3 days, maybe 4. She had $15. Now she has what, $36,000, $37,000. I just want to say thank you for being such an amazing viewing audience. Thank you for being a champion for humanity and for understanding how to respond to need. Anytime we get away from responding to need or being responsive to real need, that's when we start shedding our actual humanity. You all have your humanity right intact. All right, proud to be here with you. Okay, we got a lot of comments, but let me remind you of the YouTube opportunity, indisputable. You can join, you can hit the join button, 3 levels to choose from. You can become a YouTube channel member right now. Would love for you to journey with me. You can access fun emojis, depending on your membership level. You can also get exclusive, indisputable content that you cannot find anywhere else on the planet. All right, would love to connect. Here we go. Nostra Science says, MAGA Christian Karen has doubts about her golden idol, Donald Trump, a racist, a master of lies and deception. What a Bible revelation about the man whose family once owned 666 Fifth Avenue, New York. Travel Nurse Dragon. After this story, I've lost hope for all humanity. She's talking about the caseworker, the child protective worker. So damn unbelievable, but believable. V says, this is unethical and unprofessional, disgusting. This is why child workers are not trusted by the general public. Also, depending on the state or municipality, even if the charges are unfounded, they will still stay on those people's records for a certain amount of time. That's correct. If you get charged, that charge will stay on your record. Sometimes you got to go through additional judicial remedy to get it off. So aside from the unnecessary investigation and that stress, she messed up their record too, ? Yeah, and I got a word for Nasita, and nice is nowhere included in it. All right, Keita Boot Forever, thank you so much. Welcome to Antica Level at Indisputable. Thank you so much. You have been a member for 3 months. These Christian Karens with their so-called Christian values really baffle me. Glad that one MAGA Karen at least has seen at least a few beams of light. Now some of her followers follow suit. Great, LOL. Don't hold your breath here, okay? This is what we call an anomaly. All right, very sad situation, extremely sad. The police go in and they shoot an unarmed 20-year-old who's in a bed. Here it is.
We're gonna send that dog in.
That's 43D 919
Hands. Come in. Oh. He's got some in his hand. Some in his hand. Hands. Hands.
Let me see the right hand. Come like this.
Crawl out here. Crawl out. Crawl out. I'm good. Hands behind your back. Call for a 24. Hands.
4310 started to 24.
Get your hand back. Stop resisting. He's pulling away.
104
yes.
On the 3.
Stomach.
Okay. You want me to go near that?
Yes.
I want you to put up the still of the cops right at the time of their shooting. Let's put that still image up. Okay, I want you to keep that up. This is Columbus, Ohio. Columbus, Ohio police released the body cam video after an officer killed this 20-year-old young black man. He was possibly holding a vape pen. Columbus police officer Ricky Anderson shot and killed the 20-year-old Donovan Lewis shortly after encountering him. Officers were attempting to serve an arrest warrant earlier that day. Let me go to the chief of police here. Her name is Elaine Bryant. This is your chief of police. So Elaine Bryant said during a news conference, Officer Anderson fired his gun when Lewis appeared to raise a hand with something in it. Bryant said a device appearing to be a vape pen was later found on the bed right next to him. No weapon was found. Chief Bryant said as a parent, she is grieving with the community, but we're gonna allow this investigation to take place. But let me take it to the Ohio Bureau of Criminal Investigation. They have now opened up their investigation into the shooting, okay? Anderson, a 30-year veteran. Let me say that again. Officer Anderson is a 30-year veteran who was assigned to the K-9 unit, has now been placed on leave pending the investigation into this deadly shooting. NBC News has reached out to Officer Anderson and the police union for comment. Let me give you some background to this incident. Officers had been attempting to serve a felony warrant at an apartment just before 2:30 a.m. when the deadly shooting unfolded. The Columbus Division of Police said in a news release Tuesday. There's a full body cam footage that shows the moments leading up to the incident. In the video, the officers can be seen knocking on the apartment's front door before a man eventually answers and is taken into custody. Another man encountered inside the entrance of the apartment was also detained. That's according to WCMH. The K-9 then starts barking in the direction of the bedroom, okay? That's what the K-9 starts doing. Remember what time it is now. Officers advance upon the door and Anderson, gripping the dog's collar in one hand, pushes it open in the other before firing his weapon shortly after. Police said officers provided aid to Lewis until Columbus. Fire medics arrived on the scene and transported him to a hospital. Lewis was pronounced dead at the hospital at 3:19 a.m. According to the police, that was within an hour of the incident unfolding. Now, what do you think you just saw in that video? You saw an individual who was startled. You saw a person who was in shock. I mean, literally after they shot him and he is now, in fact, about to die. After they shot him, what do you hear the police saying? They're saying things like, he's resisting arrest. No, he's dying. He's about to expire. His body is in shock. His motor skills are compromised. His chemical functions in his brain are trying to absorb the situation and what has happened to him. He wasn't resisting a damn thing. He was trying to resist dying, if anything. The police officers continued to put him in handcuffs. There's no vape pen that looks like a gun. And here's the other side. Here's the other thing. If you break into somebody's home, I don't care why you break in. If you break into somebody's home, they may get startled. And they may have something in their hand. That's possible. It doesn't mean they're trying to kill you. Now remember, this is a 30-year veteran of the police department. 30-year veteran who has now killed a 20-year-old young black male who posed absolutely no threat whatsoever to the police who were there. Now, we have seen this happen time and time again. We have reported on it every opportunity we could. These stories will only change when local communities all understand the why. The why is this. You see how they're willing to gun down unarmed black men? They're willing to do it to white men too. We just did a story about that here on Indisputable. See, this should not be a black, brown, or white thing. This should not be a community against community thing, because the truth is we all are suffering from bad policing in the United States of America. We should all come together and fight it as an entire coalition. Mr. Wiggins, thoughts here?
This is my community.
Yep.
This is my city. I was born and raised in Columbus, and no matter where I go and what I do, I try to make it clear to everybody where I'm from. No matter what I do as a content creator and political commentary, I literally try to have my city behind me. I want to report that none of us are shocked or surprised by this outcome. I would imagine that officer who has 30-year experience has enough experience to know what is and is not a gun. As you said, Dr. Richey, no vape pen, not one of them looks like a gun. But if we can add though, let's say it was a gun, it clearly was not. He's allowed to have a gun. There's a distinction that needs to be made between having a gun and threatening with a gun. He did neither of those things with a vape pen. Let's talk about who the Columbus police are, shall we? Just last year, city leaders opened a Department of Justice investigation with the federal government for this police department. This is the second one since 1999. This is the third police shooting in Columbus in 8 days. Andre Hill was shot by Columbus police after a 311 non-emergency call for a noise complaint 10 seconds within confronting him. He had a cell phone in his hand. This is the police department, if nobody knows this, they settled out of court $450,000 to Stormy Daniels for arresting her a few years ago. It's pervasive. It's pervasive. And gosh, being from this community, I want the rest of the country to know how dope Columbus is. I want everybody to know and see what we bring to the table. And I want everybody to know what happens here when it comes to our police department. But I don't want us known for this. But we need to be known for this because that's how bad it is.
Yeah, see, the truth shall set you free. And that's why we traffic in truth here at Indisputable. We believe truth is the greatest catalyst for transformation. The lies will become a lullaby and rock you to sleep, but the truth will jolt you, it will wake you, all right? And hopefully it will cause you to engage in action. Okay, there's a dutiful father, a good father, a dad who is approached by a racist man. Here it is.
You're gonna sit there, aren't you? Move your car. You son of a bitch. I'll tell you, black ass.
What'd you say? Black ass? Beautiful.
We're gonna get the police here, pal.
Yeah, and hey, guess what? I've been recording the last 10 minutes. I heard you say move your ass, black ass.
Yeah.
Great.
What are you?
Yeah.
An ass?
Yeah,
and you're black.
Black ass, yeah.
No, you're
and
you're black.
And your address and your whole address.
I'm really afraid. What, are you gonna boycott me? What, are you gonna march?
No.
And destroy buildings like you guys do?
Like we do? Like who? Like black people?
Black Lives Matter does.
Like Black Lives Matter. Okay,
yeah,
cool.
Took $90 million from the government. Oh, that's good. Hey, this is Paul Thulin. How you
Get out
doing?
of my car.
How you doing?
Get out of my car.
Oh, how you doing? I'm Paul Thulin.
Yep, Paul
and the
Thulin.
son of a bitch is parked in our clinic parking spot. It says no parking, and he can't read.
It's been closed for 2 hours.
Yeah. No, I have not been closed. There's
if you go to Google, you go to Google review, they close at their closed hours or have been at least an hour.
No, no, it hasn't. Do you see what that sign says?
Yeah, I know what the sign says.
The sign says it's open.
I know what it says on the internet.
Open.
All right. Yep, I got more information. And thank you so much, Mr. Paul Thulin, for self-reporting your identity, which gives me free permission here to repeat it. And to do this, let's put up the picture of the self-admitted racist. Once again, his name is Paul Thulin. Let me give you a little background. This happened in Bloomington, Minnesota. A father was waiting for his kids. This was last week. The father, his name is Taryn Buford, commented on his Facebook post and said, and I quote, this past Friday, I pulled up to my kids' reading and math class to drop them off for their evening session. Before parking, I checked Google to see what time the business next door closed, and it said 5 p.m. Being that it was 6 p.m., I parked in the spot designated for that business because I didn't want the kids to have to cross a busy parking lot. Anyway, the owner walks out and yells at me to move my car, my effing car, before calling me a black ass and saying we, black people, were going to try to burn down his business because that's what we do. In the extra footage, he also tells me to get back in your cage after he'd called the police over a parking dispute, and they failed to show up after 45 minutes because they had better things to do. Let me say this to Mr. Thulin. No, sir, we are not engaged in any criminality. Black people are not trying to destroy your physical property. That is not the sentiment of the movement of Black Lives Matter. As a matter of fact, sir, I am going to give out all of your information and encourage people to frequent your establishment. Let's put it up. According to Google, this is Budget Hearing Centers. Hours of operation. They close at 5 p.m. weekdays. Phone number, Bloomington, Minnesota, 952-225-1604. Once again, the phone number. If you would like to frequent this establishment and provide an opportunity to this business owner, you can go to 10,800 Normandale Boulevard, Bloomington, Minnesota, Suite 103M. All right? Okay. I hope that helps you out, sir. Trying to give your business some advertisement here, make things fair for you and the establishment that you run. Mr. Wiggins, thoughts here?
It just came down this week. Air Force Staff Sergeant Stephen Carrillo, 32, was charged with killing Federal Service Officer David Paddock during a Black Lives Matter protest, I believe in the state of Minnesota. Yep. So when they say that's what we do, that we is carrying a lot of water. I don't know who he's talking about. This was a boogaloo boy I'm talking about. So I'm glad the individual doxed himself and told everybody where he was and who he is, because that made it so much easier for you. Typically, with situations like this, we have to say, hey, Twitter, do your thing. But he did it for us. So I'm sure the people will let him know what he means to the community.
Right, obviously a stand-up individual here. Want to make sure people patronize the company. We got more on the other side. It's Indisputable, stick and stay. We got a lot of show left, all right? We got more. Let me read some of these comments. Good comments. Bad Child says, where did he resist? Where did he move? He was almost unresponsive. That's right, and there was he's resisting arrest. He's pulling away. No, that's called dead weight. He's dying. Wasn't pulling away. Was trying to survive. Has-Been Hotel. That man was shot in the stomach. That is a slow, terrible death. It is. They say it's the absolute worst way to die. C. Michael Henson. Thank you again, C. Michael. Why in the world do we keep hiring these scared as what cops? Was Officer Anderson scared for his life whole time on the force? Has he killed others like this? Makes you wonder. And later we will get the jacket, so to speak, the background of the cop who was involved. We don't have it yet. But once again, if the George Floyd Policing and Accountability Act was law, we'd already know it. I could pull it up right now. I could Google it. It will come up because it required a database to be kept on all law enforcement. Thank you again. C. Michael says Paul kind of looks like looks and sounds like Archie Bunker. There you have it. The bringer of life, welcome to Indisputable. Thank you so much for that. Fat guy named Tiny says, I just shot you, but crawl out here to me. Yeah. All right. So sad. Dashcam video shows a 12-year-old child being stomped by the police. Graphic. Here's a video. Okay. You see the back and forth? Look at that. Look at this. Watch this. How horrible is that? We're talking about a 12-year-old kid being treated that way by law enforcement. 12-year-old child. When I give you the background to this and tell you the why, it's going to make you even more infuriated. Let's go ahead and do it this way. Let's put up the picture of the attorney, okay? The attorney for the family of the child who was arrested is right there. His name is Ryan Thomas. Now, why was the child arrested? Well, he was riding on his dirt bike. He was arrested by Louisiana deputies, pulled him over and pulled him off of his dirt bike and decided to stomp on him. The attorney for the family and this young kid, Ryan Thomas, said the ordeal occurred in February near New Orleans in the community of Belle Chase. Left his client, who is 5'4" and only about 130 pounds, with a broken leg and a concussion. You see, this is felony assault, this is child abuse, this is all of that, right? But remember, they got on the blue uniform. They have a badge, so it's different. The sheriff's office said the level of force the deputies used was required. Are you hearing me? This is what the sheriff's office has officially said. The level of force was required to bring down the young biker who put others in danger and broke multiple traffic laws. Thompson said the deputies went too far. A Plaquemines Parish Sheriff's Office spokesperson denies that the child was injured as a result of those cops. They're telling us to not believe what our eyes have seen. There's more. The sheriff's office said the 12-year-old was one of 2 riders arrested that night among a group of 5. The child was the only one on an off-road dirt bike. His lights were not working, and he was operating in a reckless manner, endangering motorists on Woodland Highway. Deputies tried to stop the riders with both visual and audible signals, but the sheriff's office said they refused to stop and continued to create, and I quote, a public safety hazard by blatantly disregarding numerous traffic laws. However, Thompson said his client never resisted or fled officers. The child said in a video also released by the attorney that he wasn't sure if the officers wanted him to pull over at first. I am looking back and wondering if he's trying to make us leave the area. Is he trying to chase someone else? He said in the video recalling the incident. The child was still charged with aggravated flight from an officer, okay? Resisting arrest and obstruction of a roadway. Thompson said his client did not commit any crimes and the deputies violated the child's civil rights. Thompson is calling for deputies to be fired immediately and arrested. However, the sheriff's office said it reviewed all of the deputies' actions and determined that all deputies performed their duties within the guidelines of its policy, using only the force necessary to subdue the suspects. Let's put up a picture of the sheriff who's backing this insanity. His name is Jerry Turlich Jr. Old Jerry says his deputies did absolutely nothing wrong here. Now, there's a suit coming. Obviously, there should be a federal investigation into this, and we're talking about a 12-year-old child. A child. They have no heart. They have no humanity, and this is why people don't like them. They don't like the police because of actions like this. You're doing yourself a disservice here, Sheriff, as well as those officers who think you're back in the play. All right, Mr. Wiggins, thoughts?
When you read how small this child was, it gripped me a little bit because I guess this was a, hey, don't hurt yourself or we're gonna hurt you situation from the cops. Like that's why they found it necessary to not only grab this individual while he was on a dirt bike, but then it looks like, we can't see, they stomped him in the head while he was on the ground. But when I read the article earlier, it says that the dirt bike landed on the child. So I can't picture why so much force is necessary in a situation like that. But of course, moving forward, they will justify the means in which they needed to restrain that kid.
Yep. All right, we're gonna follow this story naturally. There will be updates very soon. Okay, a candidate reveals that another politician has been bribed. That politician who gets this allegation decides to leave the virtual debate. Here it is.
Yes. Who are they? The names of the folks. Who are they, Nicholas Hammond, Peter Batista, Zachary Darrow, William Murphy. These are the lobbyists for the stadium currently.
They are lobbyists for many things at the State House, not just the stadium.
And one of them is the stadium. And actually, one of them is also a lobbyist for fossil fuel companies. So there you go as well. It doesn't have to be this way. We can have a vibrant city with a government who cares for us. But I think we need to be rating up for what we deserve. Good schools, good union jobs,
Thank you, everyone.
a clean environment, affordable quality housing. These are the things that make life dignified for people here. And I vow to fight through every corporate obstacle to deliver a universal high standard of living for all our people. You can hold me to that.
Well, damn. The political opponent had receipts, started dropping names. That's what was required. She said name them. She started dropping names, providing receipts. She's on a laptop and made the politician leave the debate. The politician that left, a Democrat, congressional member, I don't give a damn. I don't care what political party this person belongs to. If she is wrong, she's wrong. Let's put up the picture full mass side by side here. Give you a little bit of background. Rhode Island congressional member walks out in the middle of the debate when her black, more progressive opponent calls out a history of being bribed by lobbyists. Kimberly DeCupe is a progressive running to represent District 63 in Pawtucket, Rhode Island, a seat currently held by her primary opponent, who you just saw, who despite her corruption has previously run unopposed since 2016. Now, I don't like corrupt politicians. Once again, don't give a damn what political party they belong to. I like the more progressive candidate here. I like the fact that she was willing to call out the political opponent and provide receipts that stand up to me. And the fact that this is the first time I've ever seen a debate where the person who was being piped in through a virtual platform was able to make somebody who's there in real life leave. Never seen that before. And because of that, we're gonna go ahead and provide a little support here. Let's put up her information. If you would like to make a contribution to this amazing young candidate, you can do so. You can donate at the Secure Act Blue page for Miss Kimberly. All right, Mr. Wiggins, thoughts here.
Kimberly DeCupe did that. You can only come with receipts if that's your name. That's all you can ever do. That's right. You come with facts and stats and data and graphs. That's all you could do with a name like that. Otherwise, you are not befitting such dopeness. Good thing out of her, and I'm glad you're showing her campaign and everything.
Yeah, big ups to her and well played. All right, dear brother, always great having you on the show. Tell people how they can follow you, check out your great work.
Yeah, well, you can follow me on my YouTube channel called We Gonna Be All Right. I wish I had something more jovial and light and joyous to talk about. My next video will likely be in the same vein of Casey Goodson Jr., Andre Hill, and Ma'Khia Bryant. Those individuals were shot and killed by Columbus police, and wow. I'm gonna follow that up with what just happened with Donovan Lewis, a 20-year-old kid. So stay tuned for that, and thank you for watching.
Keep that truth train coming, dear brother. All right, we appreciate all you do, man. Don't forget, Twitchuation Room is next. Remember, take care of yourself, take care of each other, take care of the planet. Remember, the truth is always indisputable.